This is the SEC Women's Basketball Tournament. Getting ready for the semifinals in Greenville, South Carolina. The 1 seed, South Carolina, taking on the 5 seed, Oklahoma, as we take a look at our championship bracket. Later on tonight, it'll be Texas and LSU in the championship game tomorrow, 3 Eastern on ESPN. As we welcome you courtside. Hey, everybody, Ryan Ruocco alongside the Hall of Famer Rebecca Lobo. So happy to be with you for these semifinal matchups on ESPN. Rebecca, for Oklahoma today, we know they're going to need a lot out of transfer Reagan Beers.
Yeah, she is their literal centerpiece, and they are going to need a big performance from her here once again. In the SEC tournament, the 2 games already, averaging 21 points a game. Big and strong. She carves up real estate in the paint. It is hard to stop her when she gets a deep catch. She's been playing really well, especially past 5 or 6 games.
Meanwhile, Oklahoma has a 90% assist rate thus far in this tournament. Just incredible numbers. For South Carolina, so often it's Mylasia Fulwiley who packs the biggest punch for their team.
She is such an incredible force off of the bench, the 6th player in the year in the SEC. What she can do is score in bunches. We saw it in the game yesterday. She went on her own personal 5-0 run at the end of the first quarter. The pick, the drain of the 3 there. She is electric in transition. The crowd feeds off of her. Her teammates feed off of her energy as well.
South Carolina has won 8 of the last 10 SEC tournaments. Another big factor yesterday was Chloe Kitts. For more on her, here's another Hall of Famer, Holly Rowe.
Well, Chloe Kitts is coming to her own at the perfect time for the Gamecocks this season. She had a triple-double to help them get a share of the SEC regular season championship. 4 double-doubles in 4 of her last 5 games. But really, it was her having a career high in their last game to get them here into the semifinals. Staley said, "It is so rewarding. I love it when you get to see what the young people have poured into their craft pay off for them." Chloe Kitts has been in the gym at 2 in the morning getting extra shots in, adding weight to her frame so she can stay on her feet and finish around the rim. All of the work Chloe Kitts has put in is paying off right now, and the Gamecocks will need it against a big Oklahoma team today.
Incredible story for Kitts, coming off a career high 25. Thank you, Holly. Here we go, Oklahoma and South Carolina. A trip to the SEC championship on the line, and we are underway. Oklahoma plays at the fastest pace in the nation. Everything done with urgency. Oklahoma coming off a come-from-behind win against Kentucky yesterday. South Carolina holding off a comeback attempt from Vanderbilt. Here's Beers, short, and the rebound, Raven Johnson.
Great defense on the last possession by Sanaya Fagan, battling Reagan Beers inside the entire time.
You can hear the South Carolina fans here, too. Huge contingent of Gamecock fans here in Greenville, South Carolina, about 2 hours away. Here's Fagan. Fagan had a big game yesterday. Her mid-range is good.
And Ryan, you saw how far off of Fagan Reagan Beers was playing. Fagan didn't just settle for the 3, took the dribble, got inside.
Reagan Beers bouncing between contact, able to finish.
One of the top things Dawn Staley told us she was concerned about was the high-low pass for Oklahoma, getting it into Beers. We just saw it there.
Pow storms in. Well, Dawn was funny. She said, 3 keys. She said high-low. Then she talked about transition, and she said high-low. Wait, did I say that? That's how important it is. That 3, a little too much on it. Kitts dropped it. Skylar Vann has it. Here comes Scott shoveling it ahead, and the easy lay from Sahara Williams.
Yeah, that other key was transition defense,
yes,
because that's what Oklahoma wants to do. They will push pace, not only to look for layups and transition, but they will pull the trigger quickly from the perimeter as well. Again, look at how far off of Fagan Beers is playing.
And again, Vega takes the shot, this time unable to hit. That's a travel on Williams as Oklahoma turns it over. The 2 coaches in today's game, Dawn Staley, the legendary head coach of South Carolina, And Jenny Baranczyk, who's done a wonderful job in Oklahoma now, her 4th year at the helm. They've been in the semifinals of their conference tournament each of the last 4 seasons. It was the Big 12 previously. This is their 1st year in the SEC. Here's Pow Pow picking her way through traffic, dropped it, spinning, dishing, Fagan again.
When Reagan Beers is on the floor, that could be a huge factor for South Carolina, is Fagan's ability to hit that and then defend.
And a foul is called as Beers got hit by Fagan. Early personal on Sanaya Fagan.
Sanaya Fagan is one of the players for South Carolina who has good size and strength inside. Oh, it's hard to tell there because you couldn't see the lower half, but it looked like that was pretty clean up top.
Agreed, Rebecca, and that's such a key foul. Dawn Staley, we talked about this yesterday. When she talked to us about the biggest separator for her team this year, she said it was Sanaya Fagan and just keeping her on the floor. Let's take one more look at it, Rebecca. And the foul there. Maybe the hook, well, perhaps with the body, because I agree with you. I think up top it was clean.
That's a play on to me.
Beers in this SEC tournament averaging 21 points, 9.5 rebounds. Pow Pow airballs it out of bounds, last hit. Verhulst, and it will stay with South Carolina. And here's Oklahoma with wholesale changes. We mentioned it yesterday. It's not the same as what you see with Kim Caldwell in Tennessee, but Oklahoma subs often, really uses their depth.
And they get a totally different look with this lineup on the floor as you see Chloe Kitts picking up where she left off in the game yesterday, hitting the mid-range. But look at how much smaller Oklahoma is right now than when they had the other lineup in with Beers.
Beers, who's their best player, plays just 22 minutes a game. Here's Skylar Vann, was co-Big 12 Player of the Year a season ago. Verhulst has it knocked away by Kitts, controlled by Hall. Pow Pow with Joyce Edwards posting, the talented freshman, pivoting, finishing, plus the foul.
South Carolina also recognizes that Oklahoma's lineup is smaller now and that Joyce Edwards has the size advantage inside. Good footwork, good strength to finish over a smaller defender.
Edwards completes the three-point play. One of the top freshmen in the nation, Joyce Edwards, who's really grown as the season has gone along. Ron Staley talked about how comfortable Edwards has gotten. Ashlyn Watkins going out with injury, helping Edwards settle into her role, having more assured minutes. South Carolina, of course, still misses the incredible athleticism and impact of Watkins. Foul call there. And that one's going to be on Zaya Vann, her first. There is Ashlyn Watkins. Was so critical to South Carolina's national championship team a season ago. And here's the ovation for Fulwiley.
Ryan, you often hear an ovation at the end of a game when the players had a great performance and they're coming out. You don't often hear one in anticipation of what is to come in the first quarter.
That's the kind of pop that Malaysia Fulwiley brings. Fulwiley jumper is good. Fulwiley at 15 points, 6 rebounds in the quarterfinals against Vanderbilt. Here's Scott putting it on the deck. Fulwiley the steal. And a foul is called on the floor. And if that's Vann, it's going to be her second.
The Malaysia Fulwiley effect. We've already seen it on both ends of the floor now. First offensively, just quick couple dribble, pull up, drains it, soft through the net, and then we see her get the steal on the other end as well.
And that's a key foul. That's number 2 on Zaya Vann. Rebecca, you and I talked about it. Vann wasn't efficient from the floor yesterday, but she made a massive impact with her decision-making, with her pace, with her pesky defense for Oklahoma against Kentucky. So now she is on the bench, and Nevaeh Tot is in, who played very limited minutes yesterday. Here's Johnson, surrounded, kicks, Fulwiley a three. Off the mark, good box out on the interior from Liz Scott. Todd played 7 minutes in that game yesterday. Zaya Van was a team high plus 13. Her sister Skylar can hit the three. Dump down, Edwards, no. Here's Verholst. Frenetic pace at the start. That is the pace Oklahoma typically plays. Lexi Keys draws it out. Backdoor cut, and Verholst lays it in on a nice delivery from Skylar Van.
Verholst has great size and strength at the guard position, and she just was really savvy with that back cut, able to finish with the left.
Received a waiver to come back and play next season for Oklahoma, and is indeed planning to do so. A big guard with pro appeal for Wiley. Off to Tessa Johnson. 5 to shoot. Kicks calmly, fading off one leg, short. And the rebound in a foul on Oklahoma. Got to keep things right here. 5-point South Carolina lead in the early going. Dawn Staley calls Mylasia Fulwiley a generational talent.
Put it on the highlight tape!
Oh, Mylasia Fulwiley.
Mic drop, Mylasia!
Fulwiley the steal at the horn. You bet! Well, Mylasia Fulwiley, a walking highlight, checks in today to an ovation and immediately a pull-up jumper for the electric Mylasia Fulwiley as we check in with Holly.
Well, I looked at my notes back before the first game she ever played for South Carolina, and the first thing Dawn Staley said about her freshman coming in at the time was she's coachable, she wants to be great. Dawn is hard on her. She is bringing her in off the bench. She will pull her out in a game if she doesn't take the shots Dawn wants, but that ability to be coachable and want to be great is making Mylasia Fulwiley one of the greats we've seen. She's coming off the bench, folks.
And to your point, Holly, Dawn was talking to us yesterday about how they have had conversations about why she isn't in at the end of games at times. As a whistle goes against Oklahoma, and a 3-second violation is called against the Sooners. But Dawn said she's been great about taking in that information, trying to improve upon it, and has continued to improve, including her reads, her decision-making, while still having that free-flowing game that makes such an impact. As Johnson hits the jumper. And that's something you also see from Fulwiley. She's an outstanding passer. And a foul here is going to go against South Carolina. This one will be on Miriam Dowda, who Dawn Staley told us was going to have to get some time in their post-rotation with 3 straight games, and felt good about the way Dowda played in the regular season against Oklahoma.
Reagan Beers will draw a lot of fouls, and that's just not a catchable post-entry pass there, but players have to be physical with Beers.
5 turnovers already for Oklahoma. Edwards mid-range goes around the world and lands in Greenville. An aggressive pass knocked away. Let's take a look at the WCC men's basketball tournament bracket. Quarterfinals Sunday, Santa Clara and San Francisco await winners today, and then you see the semifinals coming up Monday. In the corner, Keys, too much on it. Here's Fulwiley, elevating and tossing it in off the window. Knocked away by Edwards.
And the South Carolina bench is going crazy, as they should be. 2 possessions in a row. Their players sprinting back on defense, having active hands, disrupting what could be a get-ahead pass for an easy layup. Active hands, especially when you're big, just gets out there. Great play by Edwards. Look at the bench. Celebrating the plays like that could end up being the winning plays.
A 13-2 South Carolina run, and Oklahoma They have been prone to turn the ball over this season. 336th in Division I in turnovers. They turn over 19 times per game. Been a problem here. Big three there from Raina Scott. Oklahoma did a pretty good job yesterday not turning it over against Kentucky. 13 turnovers in that win. 6 below their average. Johnson pull up off. Fears the rebound. South Carolina shooting it well in the early going though. After they went 10 of 11 in the fourth quarter yesterday in the win over Vanderbilt. Scott left it short. Here's Pow Pow. Johnson twisting. Fulwiley creeping behind Edwards. Fulwiley gives it up. Edwards jumper is good. Another deflection. And it's out of bounds off of South Carolina. Stays here with Oklahoma. But Jenny Baranchuk's team having all of those post-entry passes seemingly deflected at this point.
Yeah, Oklahoma's going to need to do a much better job of ball faking before they try to get the ball inside, because South Carolina just has active, high hands. It makes your defense so much better when you can have that really nice few minutes from Dow to there.
13-0 advantage for South Carolina's bench. Meanwhile, Landry Allen into the game for Oklahoma. She was a key difference maker yesterday, as Verles couldn't finish, but Van able to put it in. Landry Allen played 11 minutes yesterday, just the third time she's been in double figures. Fulwiley short on the reverse lay, and Chloe Kitts picks up the personal. It'll be the first on Kitts.
Is there a defender in the country that can keep Mylasia Fulwiley in front of them one-on-one when she's got a head full of steam? I don't know that there is, Ryan.
I don't think there is.
I asked and answered. I should have waited.
Verles misses the three, out of bounds, and lasted Oklahoma. How about Landry Allen, though, Rebecca? Into the game, early minutes here for her after yesterday. She didn't play in the first half, and then comes in, hits a key three, makes key passes and rebounds. Oklahoma doesn't win that game against Kentucky without the contributions of Landry Allen, a local kid who grew up loving the Sooners.
Yeah, she was absolutely terrific in her decision-making as well yesterday.
Hits, the putback is good. Skylar Van's three, off. Rebound, tilts out of bounds to South Carolina. (23-13). South Carolina in front in the regular season when these teams met. January 19th, South Carolina won it big, 101-60. One second difference, game and shot clock. Pow Pow whips a pass. Little touch shot won't go from Edwards. Verles chucks it ahead. Here's Scott, 2 seconds left. Scott lays it in to beat the buzzer and end the first quarter on a good note for Oklahoma. We'll talk with Jenny Baranchuk when we come back. It's South Carolina with the 8-point lead after one in this SEC tournament semifinal matchup.
Not a lot has come easy for Oklahoma. Able to stay attached, though, here at the end of the first.
Moments ago, Holly Rowe caught up with Oklahoma head coach Jenny Baranchuk.
Well, Coach, they went on a 13-2 run. You're taking some of your people out. I know that's part of your DNA and your rotation, but how do you navigate that?
Well, part of it is we just got to settle and not foul either. Some of our problems were our foul trouble, but they're so good. We just need to settle up. We need to run our offense. We just need to get better as we keep going.
You talk about about running your offense. You know, they're disruptive in the passing lanes. What do you see from them defensively?
Well, we've got to be able to at least get some paint touches, even if it's not Reagan. Obviously, we got to do a better job getting her the ball inside. But if we can get some more movement, that will be better for us.
Perfect. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you to Jenny. Thank you to Holly. Start of the second quarter. South Carolina 23-15 lead on Oklahoma. You know, one thing we have seen throughout the conference tournaments thus far is what happens in the regular season is not necessarily indicative of what's going to happen when you meet in the conference tournament. And Rebecca, you've talked about this as well. A lot of times there's a sticky nature to these games because teams know each other so well in the same conference at this point of the year.
Yeah, without question. It just can become a little bit of a grind because of the familiarity. It's kind of like, you know, playing one-on-one with your sibling is no fun when you're a kid because they know everything that you want to do. It's harder to play that way. And so that can be the grind of a conference tournament as well.
I think your siblings just didn't like losing to you, and that's why they said it was no fun, but...
See Oklahoma's come out here in a zone to start this quarter.
Here's Kitts. Fagan, jumper is good. Sanaya Fagan has the mid-range touch today. Picked up an early foul, went to the bench, but picking up where she left off. Here's Beers. Beers face up, missed it right.
I want to know what it means when Beers taps her head.
Williams can't finish. Good question.
Well, she posts up sometimes.
Scott on the drive, banks it in.
Does that mean, like, give me the ball or else? She's such a nice kid. Maybe she's afraid to say that, so instead she's got the tap head.
No, Jenny Baranczyk was talking to us about that yesterday, how because Reagan Beers is so nice, it's taken her a while to step into the assertion that she wants Beers to have with demanding the basketball as Oklahoma's best offensive option. But that's come along nicely as the season's gone along. Pearls buries the three, and a good start to the second for Oklahoma. Kids muscles in and has it taken away. Here comes Scott. Williams can't hit. It was online. Skylar Van trying to save it. Good effort.
And this is one of the interesting things with Oklahoma's style. That three was taken before Reagan Beers had even gotten very far past midcourt. So when she's on the floor, the balance of, okay, do we take the quick three, or when she's on the floor, are we a little bit more deliberate so she can at least have an opportunity to be involved? I understand taking the quick one when she's in her minutes on the bench.
That's a great point. It's also why Oklahoma can get back in a game. They access the three-pointer. 19th in the nation in attempts, 26th in makes. Here's Fagan. Sneaks a pass inside. Edwards couldn't finish. Well, Sanaya Fagan is a really good interior passer. Beers wanted it, has it. Van dumps it down. Williams can't finish it. Would have made it a one-possession game. Bree Hall driving it baseline. Gets blocked and controlled by Beers. Here's Williams. Dump it down. Beers misses the layup. Another try isn't good. Jenny Baranczyk told us we have got to finish at the rim if we want a chance to beat South Carolina.
Remember, Reagan Beers a season ago at Oregon State led the country in field goal percentage, and there's Sanaya Fagan again from the mid-range.
Climbing up those WNBA draft boards. And Fagan again with the rejection. Van fakes the three. Deflected and stolen. Here's Johnson. Motoring into the paint. Too hard. Edwards. But a foul before the follow, and Raven Johnson is down in some pain. after getting fouled. Raven Johnson back on her feet, but limping a bit. Maybe just kind of landed awkwardly on that leg. Foul was on Verhulst, her first. No shots here for Raven Johnson, interestingly. Rebecca, just go back to that missed layup point. You had 2 possessions in a row where you had 3 collective attempts from point-blank range that you didn't finish if you're Oklahoma, where you could have cut it to 3 or 2. Hard to give a team like South Carolina those opportunities. Edwards, again, beautiful feed from Fagan, and Edwards is fouled.
Ryan, Sanaya Fagan is leading all scorers in this game with 8 points. And you know, coming in, this is Oklahoma's game plan. Reagan Beers is just going to play right off of her. Fagan said, not today. Took the confident dribble, pulled up for the shot. You see the distance between her and the defender. Now this is going to force Oklahoma to defend her differently, which will give more space in the paint for the other posts. In this instance, it's Joyce Edwards.
You know, Sanaya Fagan, she's such a smart player. She defends without fouling well when it comes to blocking shots. Great passer, and the mid-range, I mean, she really can be a weapon.
I completely agree, and she's a physical, strong defender.
Allen misses the 3 badly. Skylar Vann has been attacking the offensive glass.
And even now, watch Fagan talking to her teammates.
Trying to save that, could not.
And that's the one thing Dawn Staley said is she's so valuable is her communication defensively as well.
Holly?
Well, Rebecca, you read my mind. Dawn Staley told us earlier this season that she has been great. They always knew she was very talented, very intelligent, but she had to hurdle some mental blocks. She would get fatigued, need to come out. And they've actually been bringing her off the bench for the last couple of years. And this year there was a point where Dawn was going to take her out, bring her off the bench again. But she's such a great communicator. We knew they needed her. And she said also, Sanaya texted me and said, please don't take me out, Coach. I promise I'll be everything you need. And Dawn trusted her in that moment and has kept her in the starting lineup, and Sanaya is paying her off right now.
Can I just say, Holly, when I read your mind, there's some interesting things going on in there.
Fulwiley, back ironing off. Edwards tracked it, lost it. Todd has it for Oklahoma. Zaya Vann has been on the bench for much of this first half with 2 fouls for Oklahoma. And Scott has 2 also. Here's Todd giving it up. Keys. 8 to shoot. Verhulst. Verhulst trying to separate on Hall. Verhulst, smooth game.
She's a tough ball player, man.
Peyton Verhulst, delighting fans of all ages. Here's Fulwiley.
This zone has been pretty good for Oklahoma so far here in this second quarter.
Edwards, here comes the dig, off the zone. Todd, look out from behind, finds Keys. Her 3, off. Raven Johnson, what a strong rebound. The get ahead to Hall, who lays it in.
Raven Johnson is an outstanding get-ahead passer.
Allen face up, won't go. Skylar Vann has been terrific on the offensive glass. Vann facing up and hitting.
Skylar Vann looks like a completely different player than yesterday.
Absolutely.
The confidence with which she's playing, the energy she's showing on the offensive glass. This is a player who was a co-Big 12 Player of the Year a season ago.
She had just 2 points and 4 rebounds yesterday. And already today, 6 rebounds and 6 points. Whistle here will keep things with South Carolina. 3:35 to go in the second. Tight semifinal matchup.
Ryan, you know I love a guard who can give a good get-ahead pass. How about this one? Raven Johnson ahead to Hall, who finishes easily. And Skylar Vann, welcome to the SEC tournament.
Yeah, Al, that halftime score was 49-24 in favor of South Carolina. Different story thus far today for Oklahoma. Johnson can't hit the three. Dowda tracks it, keeps it alive. Fulwiley explodes baseline, can't finish, but gets the foul. Let's send things over to Holly Rowe.
Well, in that last time out, Jenny Baranchek of Oklahoma was very specific with their defensive assignments need to get a little bit cleaned up. Specifically, knowing your personnel, she said, guys, if they are not shooters, get off of them. I need you in the gaps. Ball hawks and rovers, I need you boxing out more. Very specific assignments for these suitor defenders, and she just had to remind them that they have to know if South Carolina's shooters are good or not. If not, sag off and help inside.
I would love to know if she told her team, stay between Mylasia Fulwiley and the basket, and then pause and say, and good luck with that. I mean, even in the zone, she's able to penetrate and get inside, pretty much get wherever she wants to go with her quickness.
Fulwiley goes 1 for 2. Here's Beers. Out to Allen. Todd playing a lot of minutes in this first half as Beers has it stolen by Dowda.
Dowda's been good. She's been really good just using her length on the defensive end.
Fulwiley zips inside. Beautiful pass to Dowda for 2. We talked about it before. Mylasia Fulwiley is an outstanding distributor. And an unselfish one. Oh, my goodness. That pass from Allen was about as inaccurate as it gets. Pow, banks it in. And a good response from South Carolina. Scott off, rebound, Kitts. Dangerous time here for Oklahoma. Fulwiley zips in, and again gets the whistle. Mylasia Fulwiley will go to the line. And coming up, 6:30 Eastern on ESPN, Cooper Flagg and second-ranked Duke take on UNC in a Sonic blockbuster.
I want to revisit the last offensive possession for Oklahoma because Reagan Beers ran over her defender. If they had not launched that three, they would have been able to pass it inside to Reagan Beers for an easy 2. Instead, you take a tough three, a long rebound that leads to transition the other way. Decision making.
Allen? I think
No.
Oh.
This last possession.
Yes.
This last possession. No. Yeah, that was a pass. I'm talking about Scott's three.
But you're right, you do that, and then you get South Carolina playing in their playground.
Yes.
Out in transition. Another turnover from Oklahoma. Johnson banks it in, plus the foul.
South Carolina is so good at forcing you to foul. How? Putting pressure on the defense, the ball on the deck, going inside. Nice finish.
.158 to go in the second. South Carolina 40, Oklahoma 26. You know, we just heard Drea talk about it on the set, how Oklahoma done such a good job protecting the basketball in this second quarter. Just one turnover, and then from the time of the hit that Chanae L. and Drea did to this last break, 3 turnovers from Oklahoma, a couple bad long shots, and you see the difference in points off turnovers for South Carolina.
And Ryan, those a couple bad long shots are the exact same thing as a turnover, because often they feed the fast break going the other way.
So a 9-0 run for South Carolina after Oklahoma cut it to 5 with 3:54 to go. Now Tessa Johnson at the line. Dawn Staley saying recently, we need tournament Tessa. She was outstanding last year and was part of the Final Four all-tournament team with how she played. Here's Scott in the corner, much better look is off. Burroughs keeps it alive. Van can't hit the layup. Beers gets blocked by Dowda. How about the minutes from Miriam Dowda?
Dowda has been absolutely absolutely terrific here in this first half. And Dawn Staley has been talking in the last few weeks how they need to find another post player in their rotation. I mean, she's just used her length beautifully, not only with block shots, but deflections. She really runs the floor well.
Van can't hit the three. Here's Fulwiley, weaving, taking, and hitting. An 11-0 South Carolina blitz. Van chucks it in. Scott gets fouled. And free throws coming for Raina Scott.
I mean, there's no secret why the entire building erupted when Mylasia Fulwiley entered the game. She's just electric, and she's finding her spots on the floor. And Ryan, we've seen over the course of the last 2 years her maturation when it comes to knowing when to look for her own shot versus when to create for others. She's found a really nice balance of that here.
9 points, 3 assists for Mylasia Fulwiley. Scott hits both free throws. 9 points for Raina Scott to lead Oklahoma. Texas in the building. Well, I like that. Bringing the jersey on a hanger to the game.
Not only on a hanger, on the hotel hanger. I remember those days.
How do you know that's not team-issued hangers?
Ryan, I just know. And that thing's staying in the locker room too, by the way.
Yeah, I've always wondered, do you get charged when you take home the hotel hanger? Not that I've ever done that, but Edwards, mid-range, back iron it off. Johnson the putback. That was off a great deflection to Johnson. Meanwhile, Reagan Beers has not scored since early in the first. And Beers has been effective against South Carolina. You talked about it before. She was the one offensive weapon that Oklahoma had going in their first regular season meeting. We also saw it in the Elite Eight last year with Oregon State. Beers was still able to be effective in that game against South Carolina. Not so thus far today. Keys a three, off, down to the rebound. 2-second difference game in shot clock, and that's another foul you want to give if you're Reagan Beers.
You know, South Carolina's done a good job of running different bodies at Reagan Beers, whether it was Sanaya Fagan to start the game, Dowdy here, but they've also had really good help defense off of their other players, making it very, very challenging to even enter the ball into Beers.
South Carolina in the bonus, down to the free throw. So, Rebecca, this may have initially looked like just a carom. It wasn't. Look at Fulwiley.
Yeah.
She guides it right to Raven Johnson.
Did she get the credit for the offensive board, I hope?
I think she got credit for an assist as well. He's able to hug the rebound. Shot clock turned off. This is something that Jenny Baranczyk really emphasizes with her team. Shot clock turned off at the end of the quarter. Make sure you're getting the last shot. Fulwiley pressuring. Burles dumps it down. Oklahoma turns it over. Here's Fulwiley. Loves these moments. Fulwiley at the horn. Couldn't finish it. And that'll do it for the first half. South Carolina storms into the locker room with a 17-point lead. And Dawn Staley's with Holly Rowe.
Coach Staley, you guys have done a great job on your interior post defense. Reagan Beers hasn't scored since early in the first quarter. What stands out to you?
I mean, our energy, our effort, our positioning, our ability to just stay in play. She's got great position, but we got to get first, second, third effort, and then we got to run underneath if that ball gets popped loose.
Sanaya Fagan, I wanted to give her some appreciation. She comes in and just brings such spirit. What do you see from her?
I mean, it's Fagan. She might be taking a little bit too many outside shots from me, but they're going in, they're going in. win, so she's going to have to mix it up and balance that out.
I was going to say, but they're falling. We can't be mad at that, right?
They're falling. When they go in, we're good. It's when they don't. We can't fall victim to just taking outside shots. We got to put a little bit more heat on Bears and have her defend in the interior, maybe pick up a foul or two.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Holly.
All right, well, Dawn Staley has to be pleased with the way her team closed out that half. Oklahoma cut it to 5, but it's South Carolina who leads now by 17 in this semifinal matchup of the SEC tournament. This is the SEC Women's Basketball Tournament. Well, Joyce Edwards, South Carolina, with a 45-28 lead over Oklahoma as we get ready to start the third quarter in these SEC tournament semifinals. Later on tonight, it'll be Texas and LSU. And then tomorrow, the championship game, 3 Eastern, on ESPN. As we welcome you courtside once again, Ryan Ruocco alongside the Hall of Famer Rebecca Lobo. Oklahoma had made this a 5-point game with around 4 minutes left in the half, and then South Carolina just went on an incredible run to finish the half. Now for Experts at Work, brought to you by Principal.
Well, South Carolina played 9 players in that first half, and they all scored. And on this 14-2 run, they just kept getting dribble penetration into the paint. What are you going to notice? Dribble penetration and scoring by 5 different players contributing to this 14-2 run. Just the balance and their ability to get inside. So impressive there.
South Carolina closed on that 14-2 run. Their bench outscored Oklahoma's 25-0. And Reagan Beers scoreless the last 17+ minutes. First team All-SEC Reagan Beers. Here's Williams short on a 3. Oklahoma really struggled shooting the 3 in the first half. They were 2 for 15. Here's Johnson. Off to Fagan, who traveled.
I'm going to blame Dawn Staley. I bet she told her at the half, like, I know your shot's going in, but instead of taking it, start attacking the basket.
Just the 5th turnover for South Carolina. That was a fun halftime interview with Dawn and Holly. Here's Beers. Throws it behind, fortuitous deflection, and Williams floats it in. Sahara Williams had some big moments yesterday for Oklahoma. Kitts storms in and completes the putback.
Kitts really pursued that rebound. She was out of the area and read it and went and got it. And another turnover from Oklahoma.
The post-entry passes have just been dreadful today for Oklahoma.
Well, let's watch post good stuff on the other end of the floor. See, Kitts, she comes from the left high part of the screen, comes from the top part of the key to pursue that board.
And that was an issue at times earlier in the year for Oklahoma. And Jenny Baranczyk has talked about how much that's evolved, how much better they've gotten when it comes to feeding the post. But we just have not seen it here today in this game against South Carolina.
Yeah.
A tie-up, possession arrow, keeps it here with South Carolina.
And for post players, that's like an unforgivable sin.
Yeah.
If you can't feed the post when they're open.
Kitts finds Fagan, had 2 options.
You know what that one was? Spoon-fed. But other post players tend to be the best post-entry passers.
Beers misfires on a 3. Here comes Pow Pow. Hall a 3, short. Saved by Johnson, out of bounds. And it's Oklahoma ball.
Talked about Chloe Kitts on the offensive end. That's just a beautiful feed. And Fagan held her positioning, turned, and knew the ball was going to be delivered.
Beers, good look. Williams set and nails the 3.
How many defenders did Reagan Beers draw on that possession? Knew they came from the weak side and found the wing open.
Much needed 3 for Oklahoma. Hall serves it up and in, plus the foul as Beers tumbles down on Hall. Hall slow to get up. Following the foul call.
See the drive by. Beers comes over to block the shot, ends up landing a little bit on Hall.
So Beers picks up her second. She will check out. And Oklahoma is going to go small with this lineup. Rather than seeing Beatrice Culleton or Landry Allen in the game, Oklahoma goes with Liz Scott, who picked up 2 fouls early in her minutes in the first half. So Williams, Skylar Van, Liz Scott, Peyton Verhulst, and Raina Scott, the 5 for Oklahoma. Not seen a lot of Zaya Van in this game after she picked up 2 early fouls. Did not see her the rest of the half. Players really been coming on of late for Oklahoma. Foul here on Kitts. Anissa Morrow in the house. Getting ready to go for LSU. LSU, Texas. Coming up next, Morrow coming off of 36 last night. A program record in the SEC tournament.
They must have an equipment guy who carries their uniforms.
They didn't have to bring it in on a hanger.
Maybe
like
they were
Texas.
like wheeling it in on the luggage rack from the hotel.
Do you think it was part of Texas's fit though? Like,
Maybe.
we're gonna all be holding our uniforms.
Maybe.
Williams was calling for it open on the wing. Didn't get it. 7 to shoot. Verls trying to create. Verls dumps it up and in. That's a beautiful take from Peyton Verls.
Yeah, she's been solid.
She's a player. The Louisville transfer. Here's Pow Pow, flipping it back. Pow Pow in the corner, and at the 3. South Carolina 0 for 7 on the day from deep.
Great box out by Peyton Verhulst as well.
And Raina Scott just loses the handle out of bounds. 12th turnover for Oklahoma. 17 points, South Carolina lead in these SEC tournament semifinals. LSU Texas up next here on ESPN2. Tomorrow, 3 Eastern on ESPN. It will be the championship game. Kitch jumper is good, plus the foul.
Chloe Kitts has been playing well the last couple of possessions, doing some of the other things here. Hits it well, getting fouled. Is that an and one?
That is.
No, is that what she was saying when she looked at Verhulst? Was it and one?
Maybe that's what Kitch was saying. I was trying to figure out what Verhulst was saying about the foul call. I was focused on a different lip reading situation than you were.
But the previous couple possessions, Kitts was just doing a good job screening, re-screening, moving, just popping the ball around the floor.
Just next time, direct me whose lips you want me to read, okay?
My bad.
Zaya Van in, and a 3-second violation against Oklahoma, their 2nd of the game. And another turnover, their 13th. Oklahoma, number 10 team in the nation. Charlie Cream currently has them slated as a 3 seed. Fulwiley drops it and loses it out of bounds. South Carolina, meanwhile, they have more top 25 wins than any team in the country. They also have 5 wins against top 10 teams this year. Dawn Staley's team trying to pick up a 6th. I'm so curious what's going to happen with Notre Dame seeding now, Rebecca, after they lost to Duke earlier today. I mean, Notre Dame, who looked so good going into that thrilling NC State double overtime game that we called, they've now lost 3 games since, including not making it to the ACC championship game.
Yeah, they've now lost 3 of their last 5.
Yeah.
This is a team that looked like the best team in the country in December and parts of January.
A block from Fagan, the foul in Oklahoma. If it's Beers, it would be her 3rd. Instead, it's going to be Liz Scott, and it is her 3rd.
Fagan with the block. Who was the foul on?
Liz Scott.
Okay. Was there a foul there?
I'm not sure.
She got a really tough second foul in that first quarter that
Yes.
put her to the bench for the rest of the first half.
Well, Reagan Beers hit her first shot, has missed her last 7. South Carolina's done a wonderful job defensively on Beers. Hall, mid-range, no. Fulwiley, yes. Fulwiley, the SEC 6th Player of the Year with 11 off the bench. 21 points, South Carolina lead. Here's Van, the freshman, stops on a dime and banks it in.
That was a really nice move because you know Mylasia Fulwiley, when she leaves her feet, it's going to take her a while to come back down.
Good touch pass there from Johnson, and Edwards banks it in. Williams goes cross court. Culleton into Beers. Out to Van, she'll take. And hit from 3. Jenny Baranczyk telling us Zia Van really hitting her groove now. The adversity she faced earlier in the year has helped her build resiliency. Has been defending without fouling as well. That's something she struggled with here today, but has gotten much better with as the season has gone along. In the corner, Johnson, no. Rebound for Holst. Had Williams, couldn't quite get a handle to flick the pass. Burrell step back is good. Her release is such a quick trigger. Little burst from Oklahoma.
And we saw this from Vanderbilt in the game yesterday against South Carolina, where they were able to really come back from a big deficit, cut the game to 5 in the 4th quarter.
Fulwiley dumps it in. Edwards got lost. Couldn't finish it. Beers the rebound. A chance for Oklahoma to scrape a little closer. Dangerous pass. Williams wins it back. Can't hit the jumper. Whacked out of bounds by Beers. South Carolina basketball with 4 minutes to go in the 3rd. Jenny Baranczyk coaching up Reagan Beers. South Carolina in control, leading by 15. Looking to punch their ticket to the title game. Championship Sunday tomorrow. Looking forward to that on ESPN. South Carolina trying to be in that SEC championship game. Oklahoma making a little push, though, here in the 3rd quarter as we send things over to Holly Rowe.
Well, Oklahoma making a push because of the play of Peyton Verhulst. I wanted to remind people of how good she is. Here she was selected to USA Basketball FIBA World Cup team in 2021, and she was teammates with Lauren Betts, Caitlin Clark, AZ Fudd, and yes, Te-Hina Paopao and Sanaya Fagan. At that time, considered one of the best players in the country. Went to Louisville, transferred, had a little bit of a bump in her career, but here she is at Oklahoma finding her footing. You see the pure shot she has, and just wanted to remind people, she is one of the best players in the country and giving Oklahoma a lift right now.
And you know what, Holly? I think she's a really interesting pro prospect because of her size at the guard position. As Fulwiley nearly throws it away. Now, Burrell's going to come back for another year for Oklahoma. But, Rebecca, I know you feel similarly about her as a pro.
Yeah, I mean, she's got the quick trigger on the 3. She plays with a lot of physicality, as you see Joyce Edwards going up against Reagan Beers. And we saw it yesterday with Verhulst. She will just post up smaller players and really uses her strength to her advantage.
3rd foul there on Reagan Beers. He is going to send Edwards to the line. And Beers will check out. Beers has fouled out just 3 times in her career, once in each season. Saw her limited in the Elite 8 last year as a member of Oregon State against South Carolina in the first half because of foul trouble. Edwards doesn't get the roll. Lexi Keys the rebound for Oklahoma. Here's Van. Skylar Van trying to get it to her sister, and Fulwiley takes it away. Fulwiley wheeling, couldn't hook it in. What a rebound from Edwards. Could not complete the putback. 3-on-2 the other way. Verhulst, great look, and Scott lays it in. 14-point game. Under 3 to go in the third. 8-1 Oklahoma run. South Carolina led by as many as 21. Here's Fulwiley, baseline look. Oh, what a pass! And Fagan lays it in. Verhulst connects on a logo bomb. Peyton Verhulst is not afraid.
No.
Johnson off the mark, rebound out of bounds off Fagan. An opportunity here for Oklahoma with 2:21 to go in the third, down 13.
We talked about Malaysia Fulwiley and her facilitating, and just beautiful. She can get past any defender, and then when she does, makes the right decision right into Fagan's gut, catches it, and able to finish.
One of the things Dawn Staley talks about is how unselfish Fulwiley is, and the team is as a whole. Scott buries the three, and suddenly it's a 10-point game. Reagan Beers enjoying what she's seeing, a 14-3 Oklahoma run.
And why a three-point shooting team is never out of it, no matter the deficit.
They've shaved 11 points off of the deficit. We saw Vanderbilt make a big run against South Carolina yesterday as well. Fagan muscling in, can't finish. Edwards got it to go, plus the foul. And you could see Jenny Baranczyk feeling like it should have been a charge initially.
Certainly a lot of contact here, and so Jenny Baranczyk is not as upset with the foul that was called. It was the one that wasn't on the drive. It looked like it could have been an offensive foul call, and then there wasn't a ton of contact there on Edwards' shot.
Edwards completes the three-point play. The freshman, Joyce Edwards, now with 15. Oklahoma 5 of 7 from 3 in the third. Van along 2, nearly banks in. Johnson the rebound. South Carolina looking to push. Edwards having a big third. Edwards to the cup.
And credit Joyce Edwards. She was posting up strong for most of that possession, did not get a touch, and then when she finally did, didn't pout, attacked the basket and scored.
Edwards with 8 in the frame. Van couldn't hook it in. Gets the rebound, lost it, and a foul is called against Oklahoma.
So watch Joyce Edwards on this possession, posting up, she's open, doesn't get it, post, calls for it, doesn't get it, doesn't get it. Instead of hanging her head, what does she do? Continues to work, gets it, and drives on Scott, who's in foul trouble, steps away and lets her go. That's how you stay persistent, even when you don't get touches early.
Meanwhile, this last foul is called on Zaya Van, so that is her 4th. So now Zaya Van, who's been on the floor for this push from Oklahoma, now has to check out. And Van getting some attention from the athletic training staff. Hits the free throw. We've seen this now in the second and the third quarters, Rebecca, where Oklahoma's made a run. In the second, it was to cut it to 5 with 3:54 to go. South Carolina ends the quarter on a 14-2 run. Here, Oklahoma from down 21, cut it to 10 a moment ago, but now a 7-0 run from South Carolina.
Yeah, great response from South Carolina both times.
Saw a great response yesterday after Vanderbilt had cut it to 5, having been down 25. Verhulst, not that time. Johnson the rebound. And South Carolina ended the game on a 16-0 run to win. About a 9-second difference, game and shot clock. Johnson swooping through, whips it in.
What great action and cut that time by Tessa Johnson.
You can see Dawn Staley's reaction to that play. She loved the way they ran that set. Beers back in with her three. 2 seconds left. Todd connects at the horn. South Carolina by 16 at the end of 3.
You heard the studio crew talk about it. First half, Oklahoma only 2 of 15 from 3. They've come alive here in the third quarter.
Holly Rowe chats with Dawn Staley next. Moments ago, Holly Rowe with Dawn Staley.
Coach Staley, they had gone on a run, pulled within 10. What stands out about your group's composure to extend that lead?
Well, we've been here before. As early as yesterday, we lost a big lead. I mean, this is the SEC. No one's going to lay down and let us win basketball games, nor are we going to let anybody win basketball games. If you're going to win a basketball game, you're going to earn it. You know, Oklahoma's fighting, we're fighting, trying to get to the finals. And we see where this fourth quarter takes us.
It's hard to believe Joyce Edwards is a freshman. Her composure out there and her pace, she is so comfortable at all times. How has she really shown tonight?
I mean, Joyce works at it. You know, she's a student of the game. Like when you don't say that very lightly or very often nowadays, but she really takes her time, watches film, watches herself. She's critical of herself. She sees the things that she's good at. And she knows what she needs to work on, and she's got a support system that helps her do that so she can have performances like this.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, Holly.
All right, thank you, Dawn. Thank you, Holly. Let's take a look at who's powering forward, presented by Nissan.
What a delightful set we saw from South Carolina. And it's a horns with a flare screen. Pause it. So we've got the screen here. This is the horn set. We've got the screen here, and then there's going to be a flare screen, but she's going to then rescreen. So let's go. We've got the horns, the flare, the rescreen. Tessa Johnson just goes right to the basket, challenges Reagan Beers, who's in foul trouble, able to hit the shot. Just really well drawn up and really well executed play by South Carolina.
I know you love a good overhead telly.
I love a good horns flare set, Ryan.
Yeah, you do.
I mean,
a rescreen, oh, that's a cherry on top.
Forget about it. One of these days on my telly, I am going to get in the unicorn with the crown.
Yeah.
And if anybody wants to know what that is, just keep watching our games.
Dowda, who had good minutes in the first half, steps out of bounds there.
Can I just point out something with Miriam Dowda?
Yeah.
Sometimes when she's playing defense, especially against Reagan Beers, she has a constant smile on her face.
Yeah.
And it's really fun to watch. She doesn't quite have it right there, but I've noticed it multiple times, and it's lovely.
We were talking with Dawn Staley earlier in the year about Miriam Dowda, and she was saying, you know, there was an adjustment for her just kind of getting over the fact of, hey, I'm at South Carolina with all these great players. And yes, I do belong, and believing that.
She's belonged here today, that's for sure.
Yes. Reminder coming up next, it's LSU and Texas. Texas, the #1 ranked team in the nation, but the #2 ranked team in this SEC tournament after South Carolina won the coin toss, and they shared the regular season title. Dowda. Back ironing off on the three. South Carolina 0 for 10 from 3. By the way, Oklahoma was 6 for 9 from 3 in that third quarter. We heard Chene talking about that at the half after they were 2 for 15. And that got them back in the game for a little while. Beers and a foul here, going to stay with Oklahoma. The SEC men's basketball tournament begins Wednesday at Bridgestone Arena in Nashville. And the SEC Network will have all first and second round games, as well as the late quarterfinal matchups. First round coverage begins at 12:30 Eastern, 9:30 a.m. Pacific with the SEC Now crew. Tot off, rebound, hit into the arms of Hall. Now Nashville's a lovely city. I'm sure they're going to have a great time there. I have to say,
like
Greenville is fantastic.
Beautiful.
What a lovely town Greenville, South Carolina is. As Johnson buries the three. First three of the game for South Carolina. And a foul here. Going to go against South Carolina and Dowda.
I think that's on Beers. See Tessa Johnson stepping into the three-point shot. She adds that aspect to South Carolina when she's on. But yes, that last possession was an offensive foul on Reagan Beers.
You're right, Rebecca, and everybody reacted initially thinking it was a defensive foul. Even Miriam Dowda was initially questioning the call, but it was, in fact, number 4 on Beers, who has not scored since 7:23 to go in the first.
That's one area of Reagan Beers' game. She has to get better and smarter about those fouls.
Here's Van back in with 4 fouls of her own. Zaya Van, good shovel, and a foul on the interior. Miss Johnson and Edwards were there. Let's take a look back at that 4th on Beers. I don't think that's a foul on Reagan Beers.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a foul on anybody.
She doesn't have to get better and smarter about that one.
No.
That was just contact, and then she kind of lost her balance. That's a play on.
It's a play on. I don't think it's a foul on Dowda either.
No, I agree with you.
It's the play on.
Hence. There's not enough hence in your play-by-play.
I'll bring more to it. Sahara Williams. We talked about it yesterday, but Jenny Baranchek was just effusive in her praise of Sahara Williams, saying she has never seen in all years coaching a player grow more from freshman to sophomore year than Sahara Williams, talking about not just the way she's grown on the floor, but the way she has grown in the classroom, off the floor. How they went from talking consistently about playing time to just her being such a central force for this team energetically, and has had a really strong sophomore season. Loose the foul, keeping the ball with Oklahoma. Here's Verhulst shoveling inside, and Liz Scott lays it in.
That's what I'm talking about with Verhulst's physicality, though. You saw her just using her dribble, then using her strength to make the move and then the pass.
She invites it.
Yes, she likes it.
Hall with 3. Off. Rebound. Knocked around. Grab by Skylar Van. What a get ahead to Verhulst. Verhulst flips to Williams, who lays it in. And just like that, Oklahoma's cut it back down to 14. It's nice touch pass, and Fagan lays it in. The interior passing of South Carolina, it's just so good.
I was just going to say that. They have some of the best interior passing, big to big, of any team in the country.
Baseline jumper is good for Liz Scott. Been limited today because of foul trouble. For the senior center. 4 of 4 from the floor. Tessa Johnson gets the whistle against Verhulst. That'll be her 3rd.
Just beautiful interior passing, big to big. Chloe Kitts, just a quick touch over to Sanaya Fagan. Doesn't get the whittle, but does get the 2.
I was wondering if I was going to get away with that. But you know what? You don't get away with that on this crew. Tessa Johnson at the line. You know, we were talking with Dawn Staley about the way her bigs pass. And she said, we want our bigs to be able to do everything our guards are doing for developmental purposes. And South Carolina makes such a concerted effort to develop their players for the next level, not just for the purposes of what they're going to do here at this level, but that's the kind of thing, you know, WNBA GMs and coaches appreciate as well.
Hey, look at their post players. They can face up, take mid-range shots, put the ball on the deck, pass.
Oklahoma turns that over. They hadn't turned it over in a while. one of the things Dawn said, she said, you know, sometimes I almost think we're too unselfish close to the hoop. Thought that happened at times yesterday against Vanderbilt.
Hasn't happened today, though.
No.
They've made the right decisions.
Edwards spins in, held up, Burles. And a timeout taken by South Carolina. Peyton Burles having an extended conversation. She's on triple-double watch in this game. But it's South Carolina who leads by 16. The Gamecocks looking to go back to the SEC Tournament Championship game.
Well, Dawn Staley has built a juggernaut at South Carolina because of some hometown heroes keeping players at home. First, Tiffany Mitchell, Asia Wilson, and they're not far from where we're playing right here in the state of South Carolina in Greenville. Mylasia Fulwiley played at Keenan High School in Columbia. Ashlyn Watkins at Cardinal Newman, and Joyce Edwards from about 40 miles away in Camden. All these local products staying at home to play for Dawn Staley, and they are better than ever. Mylasia Fulwiley and Joyce gaining some great chemistry together. Mylasia's got 11, but that's the assist. Joyce, 17 points today, and those hometown heroes looking pretty good for the Gamecocks right now, guys.
Ryan, you know what I like best about that play, right?
The points.
The points. I love after a player scores when they point at the person who gave them the assist. Just a little acknowledgement. It's a great teammate thing. And I love maps.
Fulwiley flips it in, plus the foul. A chance for three for Mylasia Fulwiley.
It doesn't matter if Oklahoma's in a man or a zone. Mylasia Fulwiley's just going to go wherever the heck she wants. I mean, just drive by, spin, gets through two defenders. She's really good at scooping and snatching the basketball off the dribble.
Can we go back to your love of cartography? I didn't know that.
I just think it paints a lovely little picture.
Yes.
Now I know where everyone is from in South Carolina. It's different when you read their hometown versus when you see it on a map. It's called cartography.
Zaya Van has fouled out and clearly upset. As Van, limited minutes today, the freshman who's been so good of late.
I tell you what, though, Ryan, this Oklahoma team is going to be tough in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah.
Because, for many reasons, one of them being the style that they play. You know, the way they get up and down, the way they sub, the way they take threes with Beers as a unique player on the interior. They are going to be a tough, tough out.
Beers, deep catch in the finish. Reagan Beers with her first points since there was 7:23 left in the first. Fulwiley, oh, Mylasia couldn't quite finish it. But you're right, Rebecca. You get in that single game situation. You have a team that plays with the pace Oklahoma does. It shoots the volume of threes that they do. That has the inside-outside threats. Pow off on a three. Fulwiley just scooted in there. Couldn't quite finish it though. Raina Scott, no one picks her up until Edwards fouls Scott. Free throws coming for Raina Scott. 5:04 to go in the fourth. Rebecca, how about just a thought or two about our second game today? Texas, LSU coming up next here on ESPN2 in the other SEC tournament semifinal.
It was a great meeting in the regular season on February 16th, and LSU had the lead going into the fourth quarter of that game with Texas. Texas able to make some big plays late. I'm really intrigued to see what LSU looks like against Texas without Flau'jae Johnson. And, you know, Flau'jae had the defensive assignment going against Madison Booker in that first matchup. Madison Booker played well, did not shoot well. She was 3 of 17 from the floor in that one. So just kind of eager to see, you know, what the pace is going to look like, what the grind is going to look like in that second game.
Saw Bob Starkey, Simone Augustus, members of that LSU coaching staff sitting there just behind us. I mean, we could throw something to them. Hey, hi, Simone. Simone's waving to us now.
One of the great memes of the college season when Kim Mulkey hit the clipboard out of Simone Augustus's hand.
I thought you were going back to the Taurasi Augustus kiss when you started with the memes.
That was pretty great, too.
Edwards off on the mid-range. Beers the rebound. Here's Scott. Nice job by Pow Pow. Pow Pow was guarding Ball and Verhulst on the wing and was able to deter as Beers gets fouled on the floor here by Fagan. We'll step aside, 4:27 to go in the fourth. 80-64, South Carolina leads it. Well, the two matchups during the regular season split. That February 9th game, very entertaining. They shared the regular season SEC title, and they may meet a third time tomorrow if South Carolina can close this out, and if Texas can take down LSU.
Brian, can I just say that I was in the Bristol studios the day the coin flip happened, and we had a live feed to the commissioner, and he was practicing that coin flip for a good 15 minutes.
I'm glad he was,
yeah,
because
he dropped
a lot of pressure.
Oof,
yeah. Fulwiley throws it away. Here's Williams. Williams. Ooh, looked like she might have gotten away with a double dribble. Verhulst can't hit the three, and that's going to be a foul on Williams, who just blasted through Tessa Johnson. That'll be the 14th foul on Oklahoma, the second on Williams. 4:02 to go in this fourth. And South Carolina leading by 15.
I mean, you mentioned, though, Oklahoma lost by 41 in the regular season, so certainly a much better effort here against South Carolina today.
And still 3:50 to go. Pow Pow running clock. Pow Pow races in to the corner for Wiley. You bet! The anchor won't go, and a foul on the putback from Williams will send her to the line, but for Wiley and Edwards now both with 17 off the bench.
And Fulwiley just stepping confidently into this three-point shot, a beautifully designed play, Pow Pow dribble penetration and the kick out. And you know, Ryan, over the course of Fulwiley's career, you know, just short of 2 years now so far, there have been times where, you know, she's been put on the bench. There's been, you know, kind of harsh coaching in some ways of her, a short leash. And it's resulted in this. It's resulted in incredible improvement for this young woman. And anytime she's been, you know, kind of taken out of the game and put on the bench, you know, the coaches are over there talking to her. This is what you need to do. This is what you need to do. And, you know, I know there was some criticism from some South Carolina fans of, like, you know, you got to let her play through this. Stop pulling her out of the game. Well, Dawn knows what she's doing. And we're seeing the fruits of that and that coaching with the discipline and the way that this young woman has matured and is playing now, you know, near the end of her sophomore season.
The accountability Dawn Staley demands develops her players.
Yes.
Holly?
Well, Dawn Staley told us a story of last year having to call Mylasia and her mom and talk about why she wasn't playing as much and why she wasn't starting, why she had gotten benched, and there were tears. It was a hard conversation. Mylasia's mom telling us, you know, it's hard to hear stuff like that, but you're right. It is coming true now that tough love early in the career is paying off. And Dawn said, we're just real. We show them their shortcomings. There's a lot of smoke, but there's big mirrors in our program, but there's also a lot of affirmation after practice. What did you do well? She said, I always want to build back into Mylasia because she is great. She has a gift, and as hard as I am on her, I pour back into her to make sure she knows just how special she is.
What players understand is playing time, and when you hold them accountable, they have an opportunity to improve, and we've seen that over the course of the last 2 seasons, in particular with Fulwiley.
Keys off on a three. Fulwiley, 19 points, 5 assists today. Also has 3 rebounds. Here's Fulwiley to the corner. Dowda. Fulwiley's also been a huge factor defensively in these first 2 games. Remember last year, she was the SEC Tournament MVP. Fulwiley unable to finish that time. Williams wrestles it away. 2:40 to go in the fourth. Keys in the corner. She got it on a 3. 16-point game, 2.5 minutes remaining in the fourth. LSU and Texas coming up next. SEC Tournament semifinals. Johnson around the screens. Dowda dumps it in. Edwards, the hook is good. Joyce Edwards now with 19. Keys fired up again. That one's way off and out of bounds. Keys now 1 for 6 from three-point range. South Carolina with a 52-20 advantage in bench points. That's par for the course for South Carolina. They are by far and away the highest scoring bench team in the country. 41 points per game from their bench. Nobody in the nation is in shouting distance of that. And Fulwiley checks out. And Dawn Staley greets her with a big smile. Hall off. Deflected into Williams and down to the rejection. Here comes Hall. Hall weaving and finishing. Williams drains the three. And you can hear the South Carolina fans. They've been incredible here in Greenville. Edwards, 2 more. .21 for Joyce Edwards. Just calmly going about her business.
In South Carolina, 5 players in double-figure scoring have done it efficiently. 48% on the day. They haven't shot the 3-ball great, but pretty much everything else, they've been really on point.
And nobody's minutes that high either because of the way Dawn Staley uses her bench, which of course is important in a tournament like this, where you're playing day after day after day. Scott, Euros in, got blocked, out of bounds. South Carolina basketball. Adele Tapp, and Maddie McDaniel will check in. Edwards and all out, and the South Carolina crowd has had a lot to cheer about today. Raven Johnson with about a 12-second difference game in shot clock. Dowda, 2 for her, not quite, gets it back, and gets fouled, and Miriam Dowda will go to the line. Dowda is giving South Carolina really quality minutes. Everybody who's touched the floor today for the Gamecocks has played well.
But I think this could be the most important for South Carolina because they've been looking for that 4th post in that rotation. And what's different about Dowda than her other post counterparts for South Carolina is her length and her size, especially her willingness to bang on the defensive end. She did an outstanding job in her minutes defensively against Reagan Beers.
You just saw the 3 steals, the 2 blocks.
I mean, her emergence could go a long way towards South Carolina's success throughout the course of March and into April.
Here's Todd. Shot clock turned off. All cosmetic at this point as Williams buries the 3. But South Carolina is headed back to a familiar place, the SEC title game. An SEC record 6 straight championship appearances for South Carolina as they handle Oklahoma 93-75, the final. '21 from Joyce Edwards, 19 from Malaysia Fulwiley. And South Carolina is headed to the championship game. Joyce is with Holly.
Joyce Edwards, tell me about the energy from people coming off the bench. You guys are the #1 bench in the country. You're like, okay, let me do the interview. Your bench, you guys have such great energy coming off the bench. What is it about that group and how you're vibing right now?
We all want to come in, we all want to make an impact, and that's what we do. We come in, we execute plays, we play defense, we bring a spark off the bench, and it's hard for teams to guard it.
You yourself seem like you're getting so comfortable. You don't get sped up. You do what you need to on offense. How are you coming into your own right now?
Yeah, you know, just playing games, just experience, you know. I know I'm going to get more comfortable the more I play, and it's showing.
You get more minutes. I feel like you're earning more minutes and earning the trust of your coach. How are you doing that?
Just going out there and executing and playing hard defense. That's #1, putting all my effort on the floor, and then just executing on offensively.
You guys are into the championship game. What would it mean for you, a freshman, to win a championship SEC title tomorrow?
Everything. I mean, that's why people come to South Carolina to win.
I love, this is our first interview together, and I love that you wanted it to be good. So thank you, Joyce.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Oh, what a delightful young woman, Joyce Edwards, the freshman, becomes just the second South Carolina freshman with 20+ in an SEC tournament game in program history. The other, Malaysia Fulwiley. So South Carolina will play tomorrow at 3 Eastern on ESPN for the championship. Who will be their opponent? Texas or LSU? That game's coming up next. 93-75, the final. South Carolina wins it over Oklahoma.